Right, apologies. Hey, Barbie. Good morning. So this week I thought I'd do something just a little bit different. I'm just going back to basics. Going on to our Corks's map. It's not ours. It's one done by Apache. And just going through some of the missions on there. Last week wasn't too bad at all. For the benefit of some who may be visiting for the first time, I was ill for a bit and it affected memory recall. It turned me into a cabbage head, and it's a case of just getting back, and I think there's an element of building up the confidence on some of the things. So it is very sort of going to be a little bit like last week, but in a sort of slightly different environment. So it is going to be a very, very sort of step-by-step approach, and a lot of it is just seeing what I can remember, to be honest. Server's open if you want to join in. It's Mel 12345. There are some missions, or there will be. We'll see. And I'm going to drink my cup of tea and then get started. If anyone's got any questions, just please fire away. There's no scripted stuff or anything. It's just coming out my head, so feel free to ask a question. Hopefully I can cope, because I know a couple of weeks back I couldn't deal with stuff. It was bizarre. But anyway, how are you, Barbie? So I'm going to jump into the Apache, as you can probably see at first. Fly over to one of the missions. I'll get the mission started in a minute. And it is a fairly static mission. All the missions on here are, but it's an excellent set of missions for training, believe me. You have to tweak and put more modules on. All the modules are there, but there's usually one here, one there, etc. So if you want more of the same, you have to sort of tweak it a bit. But there's good set piece missions which start from the beginning, as in very basic. Very minimal, what's the word, enemy, in terms of, SAMs, stuff like that. There's no SAMs on the early missions. This one is quite basic. It's got SA-13s. You'll see the mission when I start it. And they are really, really good for practicing. And then eventually you can enable missions with lots of SAMs. And I think there's one mission with some planes. And it's a good guide to learning how to play. Sorry about that. Still got a hacky cough as always. I do have a persistent cough. I've just finished my cup of tea because it's already on the way to cold, and we'll go from there. I'm also streaming to YouTube this week, Stu, but I've dropped it down a little bit. You'll see. Quality should still be good, audio should be good, but I want to see what the sound is like. Although I'm looking, my data rate is through the floor at the moment. It's pretty poor. I may change that. And I'll change the data rate before I start. I think I can do it on the fly. Just excuse me. Can I? Oh no, streaming it is. Data rate's already up at max. It's just decided to be a low one for some unknown reason. Right, so if anyone's got any questions, please ask. If you want to join in, you're more than welcome. Password for the servers, Mel12345, lowercase. Okie dokie. And it should also be more or less instantaneous. So if you type something, if you can, I'll tell you when it pops up, and it should be reasonable. I did forget to change setting for low latency, but I'm not too bothered on that, I don't think. Right, okay, so let's start a mission. Run missions in this particular server, and as you can see, there's a whole stream. Okay, I've just got it. I don't know how long it took.
That was almost instant.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay.
It's only I had to type using a stick. People far away.
Oh, right, yeah, I'll get you. So you got easy, medium, hard, very hard strike missions.
Using a stick.
Oh, right, it's something that you could lean over and reach with.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. And helicopter missions, and in each section there's a number of missions. There is a briefing.
I know a Belgian guy who used to accuse me, said, "Hey, you type so slow. Are you in the kitchen with a long stick?"
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's like I used to say, I do apologise about this. I've got these big mittens on and there's no fingers.
I used to say it when, yeah, I'm also wearing boxing gloves.
Yeah. So if we look, I can show you the briefing first, but if you are starting from scratch, it is an absolutely brilliant mission to utilise, and he tends to keep it up to date. So there's Chinooks on there and everything else. There's every single module I have edited for you out. So you have a region here where you have a number of missions, and you can see the way it builds around the map from easy, medium, hard and very hard. It's one we always used to use for training and used to use quite a lot. You've got a region there for helicopter missions. You've got strike missions, which are more one-offs. You've only got to complete the request and it's finished. So we used to do everything but the request and do the request at the end. As you can see, there's a lot of planes and helicopters to choose from. This gives you the objectives, and as I said, there's easy, medium, hard, very hard and strike, and within each one there's a number of missions. Could be 4, could be 5, etc. And it'll take you all the way up from simple armour and a few little shooty things up to SA-10s, SA-11s, and there's one with a couple of planes on. But it is quite good, to be honest. You've got all the information here you need. The briefing's well done. And this is just a walkthrough of all the missions. These are all the helicopter missions. As you can see, you've got 5 there. Number 3 is excellent. It catches everybody out. So you've got various attack missions, various defence, various go and pick a team up, etc, etc. The one, number 3, we used to be able to do it, but then other weeks it was just a mess. And it is good because the enemy pressure builds up the more time you take. And it gives you all the details. If you've never used it before, it's called Krasnodar Variable Ground Attack by Apache. It's on about version 25 now. And I've been playing this. You can tell by the comments. I was in quite early. It's an absolutely brilliant map for learning. So based on that, I've got to try and remember whether the one that I want is set to, was it medium or hard? I think it's hard. So you select the difficulty level, and then you can go in and using F10 again, select which one you want. So I'm going for resort takeover. So you'll get the mission briefing pop up in a minute, and this is for me being able to jump into this and test a few things. Oh, you did it on there as well, Barb. Oh no, Barb is on mine. I've got some joint chat system at the moment as well.
The tourist resort on the eastern edge of the bay has been taken over by terrorists. The enemy is reported to being heavily armored with multiple tanks and vehicles. More importantly, though, the enemy has rounded up the hotel occupants and are holding them in a number of city buses which are still on the resort grounds. They're holding them as hostage. Take out the enemy vehicles without destroying any of the buses.
So this basically is a bit of a precision mission. Sometimes we use it, we just go and blow one of the buses up and kill the hostages, because then that says you failed the mission. It allows us to start another mission and people carry on with that one. The mission takes place at Glensdick, and if you look over here, these are the targets, and there's a number of coaches or buzzes depending where you come from, and they're protected by all of this. So this is an area that's been taken over by terrorists. The hostages are in buzzes amongst all of this, and what this means. Yeah, of course you can, Hermes. So basically you've got to go in, and it's a precision strike at the targets without other stuff being blown up. And the more damage you cause to the hostages, then the more you're likely to fail it. I'm running on Twitch at the moment as well, Hermes, but feel free, you can jump on there as well if you want, and then I can hear what you're asking. Whereas on YouTube I'm going to have to read the screen, so my responses might not necessarily be as quick. Do you need head tracking? Hey Yam, thanks for the sub there. Do you need head tracking? Have you played Star Citizen? Jeez, man, sorry. Have you played DCS at all yet? Because I'll explain how you can build up with it, Hermes. We were talking about head tracking, I think it was last week, and the differences between no head tracking to head tracking, or having head tracking and going to VR, and how those different stages make monumental jumps. But in the same way as if you try flying a helicopter and you haven't got pedals, how much does pedals have? You've only got a couple of hours in it. Okay, one of the things you'll start to find over time is that it becomes difficult for you to look in certain places. So, you know, when you've been attacked, I mean, when you first learn, it's not quite so bad, because you're not going to go jumping in with all the enemies under the sun after you, right? So basically, you imagine I'm going along and I'm controlling this by a hat, right? The speed of me looking around, which is exactly how I started, is not great. And eventually I got to the point where it was a hindrance not to have some form of head tracking. Hey, good morning, Aidan. If that makes sense. So it's like if you started playing and you tried to play with a mouse and keyboard, you're gonna basically fail. It's gonna be difficult. If you get a cheap ass joystick, as long as it goes forward, back, left and right, twist, and has a button on the top, use your left hand on the keyboard, then you're going to be okay up to a point. Let's pause this, otherwise it moves as I'm emphasising. You'll get to a point and you say, do you know what, I'm enjoying this, I want to do more, but I have limitations, and the limitation is my joystick, for example. So you start to think about getting a better joystick with more buttons and things to make it easy to do. But you'll also find one of the limitations is your ability to look around. And the question is, do you need head tracking, right? Or can you do without it? You can do without it when you first start until it becomes a limitation. The jump between no head tracking and head tracking is pretty damn big. And it's like you've had the shackles and the handcuffs taken off you. Now, on saying that, you can spend, if you look at, say, someone like TrackIR, it's probably the more expensive. But from TrackIR down, there's a whole host of different head tracking systems. Some you can get for free, some software online. You could utilise a telephone, right, a mobile phone for head tracking. You can buy a little application for, say, $10 that lives on your phone, and you prop your phone up and that will track your head, okay, and feed back into the game. So what I'm trying to say is you don't have to jump at the top end straight away. You can start down at the $10 thing. There you go. Exactly. Welcome to the channel, by the way, Spring. So wait until it's not something that as a new starter to DCS that you have to go out and buy all the best equipment to get the most benefit out of the game. It's one of these things that you start at the bottom, you progress, and then you'll find something is inhibiting you from moving on. Okay, head tracking's one. People say, oh, you need pedals for a helicopter. No, you don't. You just need to put your joystick in the right place of your table at the right height, and you can get away with a twist grip. And eventually, when it becomes more and more difficult for the scenarios you're in, then you might consider pedals. Do you know what I mean? So don't think that you need to spend a shitload of money, right, just to get into DCS. You don't. And the way the control system is designed is very accommodating. So I'm not sure what equipment you've got in terms of joysticks or controllers or whatever, but the way DCS is designed, it will definitely help, and it allows a build up. Whereas you come on and you see people like me and others, you know, I've got head tracking, which sits over there. I've got no headphones. Hey Nabs, welcome back. Do you understand what I'm saying here, Hermes? If you play other games like Star Citizen or Armour, a lot of racing sims will all utilise head tracking. I mean, I remember I bought it originally for DCS when I got to the point that I hadn't got enough fingers and thumbs. Yeah, no worries. So don't over concern yourself with head tracking. The step up to head tracking, once you get there, is quite massive. And then the step up to VR is even more so. I choose to use head tracking because it's difficult to stream in VR, not just from my own point of view, where I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 monitors and a shitload of applications running, but if I'm turning my head, right, to look at all these other things, it makes a horrible experience for the people watching if I'm in VR. The other thing is I like the definition that I'm playing in. I play in 4K, I've got a nice big monitor, the colours are absolutely amazing. And normally I'll stream in 4K as well, but I'm trying something different because when I do that you can only have a conversation with me properly. If you're on Twitch, if you're on YouTube, you get a minute delay, which makes it extremely difficult. So have a go, use a hat initially, right? You might find you can use a button somewhere and you had to slow the head turning round, and eventually you're going to hit a limit. So have a look at the Google on the internet and have a look at the options for head tracking. It's I think the most expensive is around about 150 GBP, British pounds. The one I use now, and not because it's any better or worse, I don't like wearing headphones, and so as a consequence, and I think my audio is too loud, it's bouncing around my mics. As a consequence, I prefer something that's going to track my head, that's remote, so I can get up, go to the loo, make a drink, etc. And I use a little thing sitting on top of my monitor called AIM-XYZ. And last time I looked, it was about 150 quid. It works well. Prior to that, I had Track AR and a customised version, and I broke the Track Clip Pro 2 or 3 times, and it was just expensive to replace. But I like having the freedom and not wearing headphones. But there's lots of options. It's not a necessity. It's a game changer, but it's a game changer once you've got to the point you need it. Do you know what I mean? Phew, that was a bit of a mouthful. Probably talked far too long. It's unlike me. Right, let's find my audio, because if I drop this down a little bit. Hey Jacob, all good, thank you very much. Just trying to get back into this. As some of you might know, I have been ill for about a month or so. Just some flu virus, but it had a weird impact and turned my head off. And it was like sort of 4 or 5 weeks of running on such a low sort of level of memory and everything. Excuse me, I'll go for a minute in your head at the moment. Just moving something. I don't pull a cable. Look. It's alright, because if I'm not using my pedals, I probably am coming back through your head now. If I'm not using my pedals, I've got a footrest, basically. Because if I sit here too long, my feet will swell up. Hey Stixie. Yeah, have a little look. I mean, everybody starts off at a point, and it's like everything else, you know. It'll be good enough to start with. You'll find little issues, you know, and the more you learn about it, the more you start to understand it. And then there's a lot of options out there for you. So, hey Stixie. Right. So what I'm going to do is jump into the Apache. Is that you, pup, in the shark, I assume? Yeah, I thought it might be. So I'm going to jump into the Apache, go through the startup, fly over to the mission area, and again... Yeah, but I've jumped in my own server to try and get my head back to normal from what it's been like. So it's more of a helping me without having the mission there, and just going into very detailed basic stuff, because then I'm finding out what I can remember and what I can't. Hopefully I can remember everything again, but the last few weeks has been a nightmare. Really? Did you have like a temperature issue at the beginning? Oh, sorry. I can't hear. It's because somebody's got a helicopter there, so let me shut my doors. Sound like an idiot now, but never mind. Sorry about that, Sticks. Hey, I've shut my doors now, I can hear again. Do apologise. Yeah, no worries, just you can jump in if you want. This is just back on Corks's missions, you know. So instead of worrying too much about a mission, you can just think about what you're doing, do you know what I mean? I don't know what? Yes. Everything's in here. Right, so what I'm going to do is... yeah, I think they're here as well. There's a few extra bits in, but only quantities, I think. Otherwise, everything was in. So I've just put the battery on. We can see the batteries switched on a few things. You can hear that beeping is a washing machine telling me the washing's done. Nothing related to this. So what I'm going to do now is look down to the left. Now, normally I would be turning this knob here. I'm not going to turn it yet. I'll explain why a little bit later. What I'm going to start now is the APU, which is the auxiliary power unit. Okay. Yeah, that's fine, matey. So I'll switch that on, hold it a couple of seconds, let go, leave the little flap up, and it should tell me on this page here that the APU is starting. I tell you what, previously I had to talk so much slower because my head couldn't keep track of my mouth. I know my mouth runs away with itself sometimes, but it was just a very weird experience. But if anybody wants to join in, please feel free. Okay, let me switch off the iHads. I'll switch that off with I on a keyboard, and I'm going to assign that to a switch. And I'm going to start the left engine. And when I start the left engine, if we look over here, there's under, is it NP? We're going to look at that number there, and when it's between around about 21, 24, we're going to then switch this left throttle forward into idle mode. Just one moment. Okay, so I'm going to press this forward just a second or two. Which one? I think there was an update, mate. You might be out to date. You can see this is increasing now. The engine's starting up. The rotor will start to turn. And then we're going to keep an eye on this oil pressure. And you can see currently it's at 90, 91. And when it drops down to 70 or less, then we can start the second engine. If we have a quick look outside, you can see it's starting up. You can hear my fans coming on my video card at the moment. Okay, so you can see it's less than 70, so we're now going to turn the second engine on, hold it a couple of seconds, again keep an eye on the numbers here, and then we're going to move the right throttle forward, and so this will start the right engine. So once the engines are started, we're waiting for a few things to happen, like alignment, etc. Now I'm in this by myself. Obviously the Apache is a two-seater helicopter, and it's much better, and I believe more enjoyable when there's two people flying it. You need somebody to obviously be the pilot, and then somebody to be the co-pilot gunner. I think you're on voice activation at the moment, matey. Stixie, I can hear you breathing. Yeah, but I can hear you breathing, that's what I mean. So basically, when there's two of you, the experience is completely different, especially if you're both learning at the same time. And I really don't like the AI that much. It tends not to discriminate. So I'll fly this from the pilot seat and do specific things to achieve what I want. And you are limited trying to do some of the weapons from the pilot seat, to be honest. Okay, so let's have a look. Once we've got the engine started, there's a few settings we need to go through. So let's start with TSD. Now this hasn't aligned yet. I can tell because there's no map, so there's no alignment. But if we go to show, we can switch off certain things that we can see on this map, right, which is just aligned now. So one of them is the CPG cursor. So that means from a pilot's point of view, I can see where my gunner's looking. This is too bright, so I'm going to turn this down. It makes it a lot easier to be able to see what's going on. Right, you can actually turn it off as well. So there we go, and that should make it easier. We've also got another screen, or another view of the screen. Oh, thank you very much for the subscription, Jay Narette. Is this the first time you've come here? I don't recognise your name. Thank you very much. Thanks. What was that one? Sorry, pup. Oh. Oh, right. We're at Crimps because it's a bit easier with the helicopters. There's a couple of Chinooks there. Right, okay, so when you click on Threat Show, this shows what's on your threat screen. So we go threats and targets we want to see, okay? And that will change depending on a button down here as to what screen you can see. Right, if we go to weapons. Alright, thank you very much. As I said earlier, I'm sort of trying to get back into it from being cabbage mode. So last week wasn't too bad at all, and this week I thought I'll take myself out the mission we were doing and do something which is a little bit more forgiving. Allows me to talk a little bit more, and I need to go through stuff myself just to remember stuff. Right, we can let's have a look. What do I need to do? One of the things I need to do is align my iHads. So I've just unpaused my head tracking. I'm going to switch my iHads back on. And so what align your iHads means is we're going to use this tiny little circle here, and there'll be some concentric circles on there, and I need to align this with the center of those circles, and of the circles concentric. Okay, now the way you do that is you select bore sight, and you'll see iHads, and the cursor will drop down to here, and these little circles will light up. If you forget, and I forgot intentionally as I pointed out, to turn the brightness up for this knob down here, you will not see those circles. So if I turn them up now, you'll see those circles. So if you go to align and there's nothing there, that's why. So when you start up like I did, you really want to be switching this particular knob forward or round right at the beginning once you've got the APU on. That applies to the CPG as well. There's another rotary. Okay, now one of the other things is I move around, I pause a lot when I'm talking and showing things. I move in and out and move left and right. So one of the things I have to bear in mind is if I'm here and I set this, it's going to be different to if I'm here. So to make it consistent, I tend to try and put my position in the same place, round about there, and then align it. And then when I move around, if I want that to be aligned, I just put my seat back here and I know it will be accurate. Okay, I'm not too bothered. It's rare that I use the gun. If there's any discrepancy between when I'm looking and the gun, then I just move my head over a little bit more and I might be shooting a target over there. I can always realign it again anyway, so I'm not too fussed about it. Let's still switch this back off again. Right, okay, so what else do we need to do? Right, ASE. So we're going to switch on util. We're going to switch on the radar warning, and then we've got a voice, an RLWR, okay? And that voice will either be terse, right, or normal. Normal just gives you more information all of the time. If I go down to here, I'm going to turn these knobs up. Some of these systems aren't quite on yet, because one of the things I haven't done is, now that the engines are all running, I'm going to switch a squelch on. You'll find that makes a difference if you're using SRS, the squelch, because you may hear some white noise. What I'm going to do is push the throttles up now, and that's giving me full power for the engines, okay? So a few more systems will come on, the generators should be on, etc, etc. You should start to hear that rumbling. Okay, we need some weapons. So as I said, we're going to go and do this mission over at Glensdick. So call up the screen, and as the pilot, really, if I'm not going to go with rockets, there's not much else I can do. So I'm going to utilise the fire control radar, and I'm just going to put some Hellfire's on. I'm going to put all of them on in terms of 16, and it's going to make me heavy. Okay, it's not necessarily great that you fly with all 16 on. Keep an eye on the maximum weight. You can see we're not too bad, but it does make the helicopter handle differently. Okay, we'll go down. Where's Buvar Apache Woodland? Okay, say okay. Make sure we get a copy. If you don't get a copy, you won't get anything. The helicopter isn't finished yet, so there's certain features and functionality that just doesn't work yet. Okay, certain buttons in certain things don't work, and it will be changing. I don't usually like flying something when it's not finished. Helicopters I have a bit of a soft spot for, but usually with planes I wait until they nearly finish. So if that means it's a couple of years before I actually fly it properly, then so be it. Excuse me 1 minute, got a cough. So the F-18 I didn't fly for a long time, and then when I thought it was done, I started flying it, and they still started changing bits. And I've never flown the F-16, and I bought it before it was released on early access. I'll get round to it at some point. Right, so I'm going to adjust the standby attitude. We've done all the volumes there. Let's switch this on. This is your countermeasure warning system. So it's doing a bit. Whenever you see the word bit, it means built-in test. I'm going to not arm it just yet. If we look, you should see now, if we go onto weapons, we've got a whole load of weapons and we're in safe, as you can see indicated over here. Right, let's have a look here. We're going to go to FCR, and when you first switch into it, it says the FCR is not powered. If you go to util, you'll see down here it says MMA, and I can't remember if it's mass mounted antenna. I think so. Sometimes terminology I use for some of the things are just shortened or nicknames because it depends who I'm teaching. If you start using too many abbreviations and things, it makes things more difficult. So I might I call this like a stick with a hat on, because it's what it looks like. Do you know what I mean? And I find that for some people it's just easier to relate. Whereas if you're throwing out FCR or use the term MMA, then that's something else you've got to think about, rather than understanding the what the thing is. And then over time, then you can start using more formal communications, if that makes sense. Right, okay, so when you do that and you select, oh dear, why is that pinned? Sorry, I've got to click this until it's norm. What that will do is start powering it up, but it does a bit test. So if you want to override the bit test, which I think everybody does, I don't know what the actual time for the bit test is I'm going to click the override, and now suddenly the FCR is powered up. Okay, so once I select this down here, we'll see the FCR page, and I also have to select the FCR page with this hat down here on the throttle. As I point out, usually, unlike the CPG seat where you can actually click on hats with a mouse, you can't on here, and I don't know why, other than the fact you're flying the plane, and if you're looking down here to click on this, then you're going to have a problem. So you can't click it with a mouse, but you can set some buttons to select it. So you'll see me select it, you see that move over, so the animation's there, and now the FCR should be there, and it should function, but it's probably because we're on the floor or it's not armed. Let's have a look. There we go. And now the radar's going, and it's doing a sweep. Okay, does a single sweep. We can adjust that and have a full sweep constantly. But what you're basically doing is saying, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, which is not something you necessarily want. So we're going to take off, and we're going to fly over to the site, which I believe is waypoint 6. Might be different in here. Let's center this and make sure everything's aligned. There we go, that's good enough. Okay, anybody got any questions so far? Now I've forgotten where the knob is for these. Is it these? No, that's Fleur. I'm sure there's a knob for them. I-hats. Turning it up a little bit. Once we start turning around, you'll be able to see better. I'm going to press on the button for the control axis. That is right control and enter, and that will show you all your axes. Once you're going, you can't really throw this around too much. Okay, so if I move this over a little bit and you look at the top left, you can see an asterisk. I don't think I've got my radio on, or have I? 5x5. I'm not sure who was radio checking then, and I don't think I've got my radio on, so can anyone else radio check back? So basically, right, you can see that there's a trim, right, that's where this is currently trimmed to, and if I move the rudder, you'll see another asterisk here. And in the Apache, you trim both the cyclic, which is this stick here, and the rudder. Okay, are you waiting for me, pup? Oh, you didn't need to, mate, you just carry on. Oh, sorry, you've jumped in there. I thought you was in the shark. Oh, did you? Excellent. If you want, you can fly mine a bit later and I'll do CPG and see what I can remember in that. Okay. Right, so what we've got to do is take off. As we take off, we're going to give it a little bit of left rudder and just push the cyclic over a little bit, as you can see. And then I'll explain a little bit about the trimming as we go along. Now, if we go down to the TSD, let's see if we've got any waypoints. We can choose a waypoint by going down to RTE, and we have got waypoints. And we want to go direct to 6, so we can choose DIR 6. Not sure whether... Where are we at the moment? We're at Krupsk. No, we're not, are we? Oh, yes, we are. Not sure whether waypoint 6 is the right way here or 5. We'll find out in a minute. Okay, so when you take off, start to increase the collective. You'll see your torque here increasing, and we're going to get light on wheels. As I said, with the sun at the moment, it's a little bit difficult. And we should start to lift off. My control is not as good as it can be, and that little beeping is something I do quite common, and that's one of the reasons why. So I'm just going to switch to my left hand. Right, you leave. Oops, I'm going to touch the floor in a minute. I hate flying with my left hand. Let me just trim this a bit. Hang on. Down here it's going, your APU still on, your APU still on. That's what that beeping means. And I think I might have just saved this then, and I mean only just. And this is the trouble when you start looking down and doing other things when you're in a helicopter. Right, okay, sorry about that, by the way. Left me APU on, and by the time I've looked down to try and do something, I've nearly lost it. So let's have a look and get an understanding of where I am. There's the runway, and I suspect we should be going this way. Yeah, that looks about right. Right, you okay, pup? In terms of what? What is it you think you're missing? Oh, right, yeah, of course. You might not have the FCR scan. Let me get into a hover, and then I can tell you what the buttons are and where. And if you want to use the same buttons as me, then it just makes it easier. So just bear with. So what I'm doing to get into a hover is I'm just gently easing in the opposite direction of the little line that's coming out. Gone a little bit too far. Let go of my trim. Relax my grip on my feet. Grip on my feet? Relax the grip on the stick. And relax my feet. And then I should be able to just pop the altitude hold on to. And I'll explain this a little bit later. And that should sort of zero and it gets into quite a nice hover. But I need to get these buttons for Bob. So is it selecting the FCR that's the problem, or the scan? The scan, okay. So on mine, if you've done this before from the pilot seat, it's the, you know, the chaff and flare button. Countermeasures button on the stick. Yeah, it's press it in, press it down like a button. That's, now the thing is, if that doesn't work, once you've selected the FCR on the screen, you have to do an FCR select. Have you done that or not? In fact, okay, I think I know what your problem is as well. Are you on, you still on ARM or are you on safe? Right, okay, it won't work when it's on safe. It's because your wheel's on ground, so if you change it, click the override and to ARM, and then if you've got the button selected, it should work. Just drifting a little bit there, as you can see. Only about 3k by the looks of it. But it's enough for what I want to do here. If anyone's got any questions, please ask. This is not the best module, I know, you know, in terms of depth. Alright. Hey, nubs. Yeah, I'm getting there. Believe me, for 2 weeks I didn't stream. When I tried on the 3rd week, I managed 2 hours. And that, this is the Apache, yes. Oops, it's going a little bit high. This is the Apache. But yeah, it was like somebody had turned my head down and I was running on number 5 when I usually run on number 14. So I can usually remember lots of different things, all the modules I fly. So I'm getting bombarded with questions, which is fine. That's both from people flying and people watching. I explain what I'm doing as I go along and have a conversation at the same time, which I can normally deal with, and then go straight back to where I was. But I couldn't do any of that. It was like having doors into rooms to go and pull this memory, but the doors had gone and it was bizarre. And it is a result of the doctor reckons a flu type virus that just impacted me more. But that's because I'm an old fart probably, I guess. I have injections for flu and COVID still, to be honest. But, you know, even if you get something in passing, it was just a bit of an unexpected impact. And when you're doing something like this, it made it difficult. You okay now, pup? Okie dokie, you ready to go? I don't know where Okay, so then I'm going to reset those. Now, I'll talk about these at the moment. Right, so as I was saying just before I took off, the trim on here, when I can get moving again, works a little bit different. And it's more akin to the Shark. So I'm currently holding my trimmer button in. I'm turning the helicopter around to point where I want, and when I let go of the trimmer, you'll see on the top left the screen will change, and I've got to refresh my memory about how that is working exactly on the axis. I'm going to let go of the trimmer now. I have to center my stick and my feet, right, and the trim will hold it as best as it can unless the input I put in overcomes the trim, or say the wind is too windy and it can't handle it. Now I'm going to trim it again and let go. There's a slight push, I can tell. You'll probably find that is the wind, because knowing me, I set the wind up a little bit more than most on this. I'm going to push that left a bit and see if I can correct it out, which I can. And then I'll get control of the altitude by using the collective, and then we should be going. Now there's a couple of other modes on this, or sub modes I can use, and that is attitude hold. So if we look, the attitude, think of it in terms of the stance of the helicopter in the air. When it like leans forward, you see it's climbing a little bit at the moment and tilting back, whereas this attitude hold will hold that in position. Okay, and we can set that by using the same hat as we allocate to the trim, but we're going to push it to the left once, and you'll see a box appear where it says currently 8079, which is our speed. Okay, and what it should do is hold that attitude, and you'll now see blue boxes. So if we look here, right, I can sit and drink a cup of tea, and this will just stay as it is. Okay, I'm going to drop the altitude down over here to the right, which is the collective, and I'm going to try and get it level with here, which is neither climbing nor descending. It is a very, very slight input, and when it's there, I'm going to do the same thing to the altitude hold, and you'll see that little indicator. And now it's not going to climb or descend, and now it's going to fly to where it's pointing. Okay, that's the target area. This I'm not sure what it's called in this. I know in the A10 it's a velocity vector pointer. It does the same thing. It may be called the same, but we're heading that way. And if you look, oh, I'm not that far off actually. My cyclic and my tail are aligned a little bit, although the tail's off to the left. So if we look at this from behind, once we get there, you'll see that the helicopter isn't going in a straight line. It's sort of going slightly left as it goes along, slightly misaligned. Okay, I'm leaving it on slow at the moment while I explain these things. So when all this is set, you can see how it sort of changes this viewpoint, which is why I say if you know what it is, then utilize it when you're learning, and it will hold it. If it can't hold it, you'll hear a beep, and you'll see either this indicator flashing or this box flashing. The difference, the difference between this and the Shark is the amount of input you can apply to it when you've got these modes on. In the Shark, the trimming system will hold 20% of the main controls. So what that means is for the first 20%, once you've engaged the trimmer, then as long as your input is less than 20%, it'll have no effect. On this, it's completely different. It's about 3 or 4% in one axis and probably 5 or 6 in the other axis. So it's not as forgiving as the shark. But if you can handle the shark and you understand the way that works, yep. Okay, on the bottom of one of the screens, you'll see RTE, and that, or if you click it, that brings up all the waypoints. And then I've clicked on direct and clicked on 6. So use the up and down arrows to change the selections or the options, and then hit DIR and then click on 6, and it should underline it and put the waypoint in the right place. Okay, that's one method. That's the easiest, most basic method, I think. Okay, so we're going along. Now the interesting thing is this here. When this is below 40, the helicopter or the system assumes that you're trying to get into a hover, because why would you be going below 40 if you're not going into a hover? Doesn't take into account the fact that I'm just talking so much and we just slow down naturally. So if I want to get into a hover, it's exactly the same as I just did. The only difference being is I need to slow down. If I slow down to 40 or less, it will go, you want a hover, I'll slow you down, we'll try and get into a hover. My way of doing it is, if I want to get into a hover, this line in front of the circle represents our speed and where we're going and everything. So if I want to slow down, then I'm going to pull this back gently. I'm also dropping the collective a little bit because we don't want to go flying up into the air. And I'm going to slow us down by holding the trimmer, pulling gently back. Okay, now bear in mind, the slower you go, you suddenly got to start adding left rudder and various things. You can see the speed's dropping now. Okay, altitude's going up, so I'm going to drop the altitude a little bit more. And if I can get this as slow as possible before I say, right, I want to get into a hover, it makes it much, much easier for the system to be able to do that. Okay, so I'm going in opposite directions to that line. You can see the circle, you can see it coming in, and it's all very, very gentle moves. Now I'm going to let go. Right, you can see now I've let go, I've overcooked it a little bit, so I'm going to just ease it forward, hold the button again just a little bit, then let go, and then hit the attitude hold, and you should see it start to slow the helicopter down. I'm not touching the cyclic, I'm changing the collective a little bit because you can see I'm dropping height, so I'm bringing that back up. You can see the number on the attitude hold decreasing. Okay, as it tries to get me into a hover. And then if I hit the right direction, that's holding my altitude, and you can see we're drifting back slightly by this speed. So I can make an adjustment there, and I can do that just by holding the trimmer a little bit, just nudging it forward. Put some left rudder on as well. As soon as I do that, it's going to stop that hold. I'm going to nudge forward a little bit. Let's see what it does. If it moves around too much, it is windy by the way on this server, as is always the case if you come onto a server that I've been tweaking. It's still going backwards. It's windier than I thought. I've just reset those now. I'm just going to push forward a little bit. Now usually when you're moving around you can slow down really quick, but I still think I might have set the wind a little bit higher than I should really. It was all done rather quick, but get it as low as you can, pop the attitude on, and hopefully it'll settle down. Is it me or is it a bit windy? Yeah, I think I might have upped it a little bit too much because I'm out of touch and I just whacked some wind on. I didn't go overboard, but I think that's why it's blowing back a little bit. If you look, you should see that the blades are tilted forward a bit. Yes? No, is it underlined? Look on the right hand side. If you can't see it, press RT again. Has it got an underline on the waypoint? On WP06. Yeah, I think. Okay, so when you click RTE, it pops up on the right hand side with a list of waypoints, okay? Right, if you use the cursor where the arrows are up and down, it will move the waypoints up and down. And can you see WP06? Right, is there an underline under it or not? There's a box around it. Did you press DIR on the left and then press WP06? Right, that's what you need to do to set it. So once you can see it on that little box where it's around 4 or 5 waypoints, just click DIR and then WP06. Okay, and now you'll see the home plate. Okay. Right. So let me go back to there. So you can see basically... Yeah, I am at the moment, don't worry. It's because I'm talking, trying to explain things and about hold, attitude, hold, altitude, hold, blah, blah, blah. But it is a bit too windy. Right, yeah, I'm a bit high. We're going to Glens Dick, so if you remember where that is. Okay. Oh, what, you in the Apache? Chinook, oh, yeah, I was going to say. So let's I can't remember if it's got a waypoint in there for this. I can't remember whether it's set up. Yeah, I think there is a couple of Chinooks at Krimsk. Ah, right, okay. Right, so what I'm going to do now to get out of this, by the way, is reset that by pulling the hat back. So normally you have a hat that you would select where it goes forward for trimming, left for attitude hold, and right for altitude hold. So you reset these two by pulling the hat back and then hold the hat forward. It's by the lake. Okie dokie. And the air base is just on the bottom end of the lake, just round to the right slightly. Okay, so I'll reset it. Hear them flash. Now I'm pushing forward. You've also got to be very wary or careful of the torque. You over torque, which means you're basically trying to put too much into the rotor system, and it'll go, hang on a minute, I can't do that. You're trying to ask for more than I can give. I'm going to reduce the RPM. If it reduces the RPM, right, it will usually, I believe, helicopters start with the tail rotor, where you get loss of tail effectiveness, and it also reduces the RPM of your main rotor, and that will cause you to drop. So when you start dropping, the more you put in, which you're likely to do, the more you're going to drop. And if you Google online, you look at some of the people who are training in helicopters, and they'll do something called a VRS. And I've seen one guy training, and you could see it happen. He was over some water, and then it just dropped. There are things I've seen where people go on about you need to understand what your hover is, how much torque you need for a hover, and that's why helicopters do hover tests when they've taken off, because it's quite surprising, especially if you're overloaded a little bit. You can find yourself hovering a lot more than you think. There is a setting, if I can remember where to get. Let me point this over there, and I'm going to enable the attitude hold. I'm going to pull the altitude back a little bit because I don't want to go flying up, and I'll show you what I mean. Somebody who comes on who's Aviate, he usually goes on about this, but if we have a little look down here, and this is why I switched this off. It's a pain in the ass, isn't it? And I think it's flight, is it we want? I always forget. Perf. There we go, hover. You've got IGE and OGE. Okay, so IGE in ground effect, outside ground effect. 79 in ground effect, 100 right outside ground effect, and indicated is 55. Indicated is what it's currently showing at the moment. Okie dokie. So basically, if I was to stop into a hover, right, and I was in ground effect, I'd need this to be 79, about there, for me to hover. And if I was outside ground effect, I'd need 100. So the question is, what's ground effect? So as helicopters fly, they drag air down, okay? If you're close to the ground or close to a solid object, whether that's a mountain, a ship, a building, the ground, even water, etc., that air is going to bounce off that object and it's going to come back at the helicopter. And the effect you get is a little bit like a hovercraft. So when you're in ground effect, you actually just float around, okay? Outside ground effect, you haven't got that additional little bit of lift, and therefore you need more torque to be able to hover. Hence 179 and one's 100. Okay, so bear that in mind. The other thing is you start to slow down. That beep, did you hear it? It's because it can't hold what I've asked it to do with the trimmer, so it beeped. And that's possibly because, again, I'm slowing down as I'm talking. So let's speed up. And let's point the nose down a little bit more. Otherwise it keeps dropping below 40 and then goes, oh, you want to go into a hover. So I'm holding the trimmer button, pushing the nose forward. As it starts to try and lift, I'm pushing the nose down a bit more. As it goes faster, it induces lift. Therefore, I can reduce the collective a little bit as well at the same time. We're not going too quick here. We're sort of going fairly easy. The Chinook is much faster than this. The Shark is definitely faster than this. Right, I'm going to switch on my countermeasure systems over here. And I'm going to switch them on to ARM. Countermeasure warning system. I'm going to put it on bypass. Otherwise, it'll just dump everything when it gets threatened. Ah, right. It's quite difficult, Nabs. If you've never touched helicopters, right, then I would suggest you start with a Huey. And if you wait a bit, I'll go through the Huey. But the reason being, you haven't got complexity, such as in this, or the Shark. It's very easy to start up, and you haven't got to worry about all these systems and these different things that are going on. It's just a basic, simple, old helicopter. However, if you can fly that, or you try and fly it, all the problems that you've heard me talking about, something called VRS, ground effect and everything. We're talking about the Apache. Let me explain a bit of that history that Arthur's mentioning. Before I do that, here Arthur, you're all good and welcome back. Before I do that, so Nabs, what I was saying is that you really need to get a grip of helicopters before you try and get the Apache, otherwise you're going to end up so frustrated, okay? Because I'm not making it look easy. Usually I'm a little bit better than I am now, but I'm just getting my touch back in. But the Apache is so unlike other helicopters in some of the aspects it does, that I would always advise start with the Huey, find out what you can do with it, get to grips with it. Landing and taking off sounds easy, but when you try it, believe me, it's a lot more than you think. But it's you doing it. When you get into something like the Shark, there's a lot more systems, computerization and control functionality managed by the systems. Yeah, and the Hue is great fun. It's dirt cheap as well, especially in a sale, but you can use the free trials for it. So get to grips with the Huey, get a free version of the Shark for 2 weeks, and then learn the trimming system on that. Don't worry about the weapons, the trimming system. And then when you get into the Apache, right, you've got some semblance of how helicopters work and also how trimming works in a helicopter. Coming over to your question, Arthur, there's been 2 or 3 sort of changes. The trimmer works. How the trimmer works is always, it works in exactly the same way as the Shark. Press to hold disengages the trimmer, relax or release the trimmer, right, sets the trimmer, and then you need to lift on your hands and feet before you get input back. The one thing they added, which I was gobsmacked, is all these people who were trying to jump into the Apache from planes because they wanted to be able to fly it. They struggled so much. They moaned and moaned and moaned and demanded a trimmer reset button, which the helicopter doesn't have. And I was gobsmacked that they put one in. Now the reality is you do not want to have a trimmer reset. When you change anything to do with trimming, you change from one trimming thing, you change from one trimming position to a different trimming position. You want to disengage it, right? Then you hold your stick, you press the button, it disengages it, you re-engage it in a position or place you want to be. If you're in the Shark and you hit the trimmer reset button, the helicopter will immediately stick its nose high up in the air, go backwards, and there's a chance you'll drop out the sky. Right, so you don't need a trimmer reset. You'll never use the trimmer reset in the Shark. You may use the trimmer reset in the Huey, but you're only ever going to use it when you're coming down to land, or you're slowing down, or you're making adjustments. Other than that, you would never ever hit a trimmer reset button, believe me. But yeah, the flight model has changed quite a lot. It used to be a lot harder to control, to be honest. And it was, oh my God, you'd be dropping out the air. You know what I mean? If you looked at the helicopter sideways, it would just go, right, I'm going down. And it was quite difficult. And we got used to it, and then they changed the flight model. It's a lot easier to fly now. Is it more realistic? I don't know. Sorry, what was that one, Sticks? Instruct who? Oh, sorry, yeah. It's alright, I couldn't quite catch what you were saying there. Well, Timmy's on holiday again, isn't he? So hopefully we don't kill him. Oops. Just 1 minute. Yeah, and they really do. If you're inside and you've got a Chinook out your window, it really does make everything vibrate. Yeah. Right, as I'm coming closer, what I'm going to do is switch back to FCR and I'm going to do a scan. Let's see if it picks anything up. It's got something out over there, and that's an H. Okay. Now, I know that that's going to be Stick C. He's just said he's been over the target area and buzzed it, and he's far too close. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go and hit the target area straight away. Can you see? I was going to call that bald. Can you see that area of that hill where there's no trees? That's weird once you're thinking of it as bald. Never mind. So I'm going to slow down and I'm going to get into a hover this side of that little ridge. And then what I'm going to do is do a scan, and I'm going to lift up and do another scan. And I'm also going to switch on something called the... Dad? What, you're getting ready to evacuate? Oh, I know, you're quite close. You popped up on my FCR. Now, in my... Yeah. In my helicopter at the moment, what I haven't got is much audio because I turned it down so that it's not bleeding through the mics. It might be Pup, because Pup's much faster. It's one of you. I'll know in a minute when I set something up. Right, so I'm going to start slowing down, and I'm going to also turn over to my right. I know the targets are just over the hill, quite steep down. If I go too close to the hill, I am going to have to lift up, and I'll stick up too far over the hill. So I'm going to sit back away from the hill a little bit. And then I'm also going to talk a little bit about what VRS is, because I mentioned it, and how that affects your helicopter, and how you need to learn, right, in a Huey, because you are going to VRS an awful lot. I'm just turning round. I'm also slowing down, as you can see. I'm also increasing my collective. Remember, we've got to use what? Inside ground effect, we can use 79% of torque. Outside ground effect, that little screen, 99. So I'm slowly holding the trimmer, right, to disengage it. I'm pulling the stick, my cyclic, in the opposite direction of this little line, trying to get that circle right into the middle. Now remember what I said about the wind. Oops. So when I let go of the trimmer and it sets it, you see I'm actually tilting back further than I thought. So I'll set it again, put it a little bit of left rudder. That's not so bad. Let's switch that on for now, because I know the wind is a little bit too strong. Put that on for now. Where's the helicopter going? Look what it's doing. That's not good, is it? Let's reset that. Let's hold the trimmer down. Let's stop that. And get it trimmed properly. Get it into a hover and then change the view right round about there somewhere. Let's Take my feet off there. It's floating around a little bit, which it'll do. I forget how windy this thing is. You see the way that's flashing? It's because it can't hold it. So it beeps and flashes. Let's try that. Let's bring this down a little bit. I'm not doing much with my feet at all at the moment. And then I'll bring this down. Surprising, isn't it? You can see I think there's wind pushing. Now, while I'm stopped here, one of the things that I mentioned earlier is the way your helicopter comes down, and it'll come down if you're trying to give it too much torque. It'll reduce the RPM, and that's going to start coming down anyway. The other thing is if you try to get into a hover, right, and you're not moving at all, and you try and hover, then you'll find you may start to drop, and you'll feel it. And as you start to drop, what your tendency to do is increase your collective. If you increase your collective, you're going to drop even more, and you'll spot it usually when you're coming into land, when you're descending but you've got no speed. If you've got some speed as you descend, then you're fine. But if you haven't got any speed, and say I was coming into a hover from, say, this position, and I was just going straight down, I'd get into probably something called a VRS, which stands for Vortex Ring State. So when you look at helicopter blades, and those blades are trying to compensate for that wind, which is why they tilt it, right? And it still needs a bit more. You get a pattern, an airflow around those blades, and it looks very regular. It also looks very what's the word? Yeah, Ajax. Why are you not speaking again? I've just noticed it sort of didn't read you out. Basically then, it disrupts that pattern when you hit a VRS, and instead of being a really nice air flow, it's interrupted and turbulent. And because it's interrupted and turbulent, then you're not going to get any lift. And because you're not going to get any lift, right, you start to drop. And because you start to drop, what you tend to do is give it more collective. When you give it more, that's better. When you give it more collective, it tends to make the effect worse. And because it makes it worse, it drops more. And because it drops more, you give it more collective. Okay? The only way out of a VRS is to flatten your blades. Bear in mind that with a collective, it tilts your blade, which is how it bites into the air more. So you flatten your blade and you push your cyclic, which is your joystick, in any direction. And as soon as you move out of that turbulent area, you start to increase the collective, and you'll be picking the helicopter back up. And you can save it. With a Huey, you can tell straight away with the feedback what's going on. The way the helicopter handles, the way it shakes. Excuse me. If it's too bad, you'll hear the low RPM warning going off, and you can rescue it. But sometimes you'll see helicopters come in and just plop on the floor, break the wheels, might flick over, might break the rotor, and then end up upright with no rotor or anything. Who did what, where, when? You lost it. Speaking of which, is this you coming in now, Stixie? It could be because you're moving a little bit quick. Excellent. Well, I saw an advert for was it a MiG-29A? And I thought, yeah, it's having. I think it might be too windy. You know, I'm not sure. I might have to drop it off a bit. See, this is... Yeah, now that to me might be quite interesting just because it's different. Typhoon I might be interested in. Obviously it's something that is there, but I'm not big on fighters necessarily. That's why I like the A10 so much. Air-to-air combat, World War II stuff if I'm going to do that, and BVR stuff in a game, I don't get it. The reason I say that is because you're fighting, you're using a system, you're not doing stuff, you're just programming something. Well, I can do that sitting in a chair back at the airbase, do you know what I mean? So it's like, I like the upfront, close and personal stuff. Okay, so there we go, we're sitting here, we are still drifting a little bit. Not as much as you think, but it's telling me that the wind's about 14 kilometers an hour, and it looks like the altitude is changing a little bit, so it can hold it up to a point and then it'll just drop and beep. Okay, this tells me I've got the holds on, and what have I got a red light down there for? Not sure. Yeah, exactly. Some things are quite good, but you know, if you want a dogfight, there's nothing like a World War II plane. There really isn't. Okay, so it was in an Apache. So you can see I'm sitting here. You can see it also bounces around. And something interesting that happens with helicopters, and this is something you need to know. If you look at the surface of the ground, it's undulating. So we've been pushed over to the left a bit by the wind. We've got a hill there and the ground isn't even. So if I was low down and the wind, I was in ground effect and the air is blowing back up at me, if I'm going to be low down over a hill, what do you think is going to happen? That air is blowing back at an angle. So it's going to try and push me backwards. So to compensate for that, I'm going to push my nose forward and maybe increase my collective. And if I increase my collective, then the ground effect gets bigger. And because the ground effect gets bigger, the hill pushes you back even more. So I'm going to increase my collective a bit more and say, you're not going to push me back and push my nose forward, which means then that the hill's just going to get more air coming down at it and bounce it back up. So be aware of that. If I wanted to get on top of that hill there, right, I would not fly up the edge of the hill. Yeah, if you want to jump in, the password is MELL1234, maybe 5, lowercase. And it's called Mel's Emergency Server. It's just one I use when the main server's not up, or I need to back off a little bit and just sort some of these things out myself. As I said, I've sort of had a bit of a weird illness for a month or so, and you know, I couldn't remember stuff. So really, as I'm explaining it, which is what I'll normally do, I'm also making sure that I can remember things, if that makes sense. So we took off from Krimsk. If you want helicopters, if you want planes, they'll probably be at Krasnodar. But you should see them. We're doing a mission which is at waypoint 6, which is here. Okay, right, so let's have a look then, shall we? Now, what I'm going to do here is switch on. It's not called the TAD, what's it called? Oh, man. TADs, I was close. I'm going to switch on the TADs. And I'm going to switch on this button here. Okay. And so this is a device, I forgot what it stands for. It's at the front there. It's a camera system, guidance system, etc, etc. And it's usually managed by the co-pilot gunner. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch on CSP or C-scope, and I'm going to do something called link. And link is another feature of the VR, and because I'm doing it from here, this is going to link, right, what this sees and this. So what that allows me to do, hopefully, can I zoom in this? Yes, I can. There we go. This is going to allow me to see what the targets are that the automated system or the fire control radar are going to be shooting at. We've already established that with this mission, we don't want to harm the tourists, and the tourists are being held in captive on in buses, and the buses, or coaches if you prefer, are surrounded by the things that you want to shoot. So you can't go willy-nilly and drop a bomb because you failed the mission. So you need to be more precise. Now this should, I believe, be telling me what the wind is. Hey Tarful, is it Tarful? Yeah. Welcome to the stream. If you got any questions, please ask, and I'll try and answer them. If I can't, I'm sure there's somebody else on channel that will. So I need to turn around first of all. So let's turn around. With this, by the way, this is the view that this system on the top is seeing. Okay, I can turn it round, and now it's pointing to the right, and I can do a scan. Okay, and it's looking. Unfortunately, they were terrorists, so it wasn't quite a war zone. It's just somebody decided to move in, take the tourists hostage, and that's the problem. But you know, they should know better. And there's a small lad who lost his parents in a mission we used to fly many years ago because we accidentally bombed his house. And would you believe Timmy, which is his name, he's actually on holiday at this hotel, and he's one of the tourists. So he's with his minders, his child minders. He's lost his parents, his grandparents. He was somewhere else, and usually that's because we accidentally blow somebody's house up, or maybe the hotel, or the wrong thing, or a car driving along the road instead of the tank. So if ever you do that, it's like, oh no, not Timmy. If you get the humour in that, as dark as it is. Right, let's... It's not, is it? But then again, if you got a load of adrenaline junkies, you know, your tornado hunters, you know, there's a certain amount of buzz or thrill, maybe. Oh, look. That there is a dead helicopter. It's not asleep. But you get the gist. So if ever we accidentally blow something up, then usually it's Timmy's place. So this helicopter's already dead. This is one that Thingamajig came in. Pup. Nearly forgot Pup's name. If you need any help with startup, matey, just shout out. So I'm going to increase my height, right? And I want to lift up enough for the fire control radar to see over the hill. Now I'm still back from the hill, and that's fine, I don't mind. I have made the wind a little bit too strong. It's blown us around. Oh, suppose so, yeah. Hey Kev, how's it going, mate? How's everything going? I ordered me dwarf yesterday. Yeah, I put too much wind on this map. Would you believe it, Kev? I'm just lifting up. Okay, I'm going to let go of that trimmer there. Do a scan. I've got something else there, as you can see. Now what I'm going to do, right, is just lower my height so my radar is picking them up. Now I'm just using the FCR, so I should be able to fire from here, but I need to know what I'm firing at first. Oh. Oh, I know. It was funny, wasn't it? She was at home last week. Was she at home? I can't remember. I think she might have been. Yeah, no, it was quite funny, Kev. At least I was getting there. I was a bit... But I sound different. I can tell the difference now. You know... Oh, on the phone. Yeah. I'm starting to do a little bit more with it now and functioning. So what should be happening, right? And if we zoom onto here, and I'm pretty sure this may have, is it got a TADS button? Yeah, I can't remember. If can I set TADS to TV mode from here? I can't remember. It's on Fleur at the moment. So this should be showing me what's selected in here. At the moment there's nothing selected in there, therefore I can't see anything. So let's lift up a little bit more. And scan. Tells me I'm transmitting here. Now I've got to be careful because I know there's stuff just over the hill. There's quite a lot of it. But I've not used... I don't think I've used the Apache to go after stuff like this, to be honest. So it'll be interesting. And this is one problem with this. As I said, you've got to get that high to be able to see over. If we're in a plane, we'd be coming at it from the sea and using range to cover us. Usually in the helicopters, we can peep over with the helicopters. Now, you might think, why am I so far back and so high? If something's down here, it's really difficult for it to actually see me, and the viewpoint from there will be so different. There's already planes, matey. It's not all helicopters. There's loads of planes. They're at Krimsk. And I think something's changed, and I don't know why, because I noticed when I come on, I thought, where's all the planes? But if you go to, there's like a dynamic button and another button at the top of the menu, and it confused the hell out of me. And when I selected dynamic, I could see the helicopters, but before that I couldn't. So if you select the first button, perhaps you should be able to find a plane that you can get into, unless I have really screwed something up. Now the stuff I'm trying to look at is down here. Let's move this elevation down a little bit, because I should be able to see something now, I'm pretty sure. Let's turn this... Did you find it, what you wanted? Yeah, excellent. It's something I've never noticed before. That's fine. Oh, right, yeah, no, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Right, so I'm more than high enough, I think, to be able to see stuff over here. So I'm going to have to change my angle, come in from a slightly different approach. So in which case, I'm going to reset that, that's switched off attitude hold. I'm holding the trimmer, and I'm going to go down here, which I think where Pup was sort of looking. And I'm still going to sit back a little bit because I don't want to expose myself. Because no doubt I'll get some in the face if I do. We tune on a missile. 3. I was saying to Julie, because I said I'm going to get it. I said because when I originally looked years ago and I'd got an interest, it wasn't even on the photography side. And back then, when I'd actually got a reasonable job, I'd probably got about a £3 budget for a scope. But for 500 quid, you just think it's not even 500 quid, is it? If it'll do the job, and it doesn't need to be as in-depth as you, I think it'll be quite reasonable. and I'm looking forward to the stacking and the processing as well. But I may use DaVinci for the colour grading. But it was an 8 to 10 week lead time, but I think that's come down now. I think they've had some made. So let's try this a slightly different approach. We're going to use this hill and then look across, which should give me a line in front of the other hill. Yes, if you want to come in, you're more than welcome. Look for Mel's emergency server. Password is Mel12345, lowercase. I've already downloaded it. Yeah, I've downloaded it, but I've got no test data that I can try it out with. Unless you've got some, if you want to send me, is it fits? If you've got a load of fit files you can dump over my way or give me access to. It might be, you know, worth having a play. That's what I was thinking when I was looking online for some. Obviously they won't go anywhere or anything like that. Yeah, it's night time is really good, but you need two people, to be honest, I find. A lot of servers don't do night because obviously it makes it really difficult when you're streaming. You might find, I don't know whether Kaz just flies on his own stuff. He does a lot of night stuff. And there's still a lot more I've got to do, but I've been on one with Stu and we didn't do too bad, surprisingly. But from a streaming point of view, sometimes it's all just that little bit too dark. Do you know what I mean? When you're looking at a screen, I can't tell who that is with us. Someone's rifling away. Could be Barbie, could be someone else. It's who? No, someone else did. They rifled. It come through on the radio. Yeah, no, someone else has rifled. So I'm slowing down again. Yeah. Well, that's a good speed to do this. Let's get that right. Let's get that right. Okay, just retrim that, but oh, come on. Yeah, I think my wind is too much, you know. Yeah, I know. That makes a change, doesn't it? It really throws the Apache around. Yeah. The weird thing is, I took the value from a very old screenshot that I made of some of the missions that I did before, and unfortunately, it's a little bit too much, I think. Oh, so let's see if we can get some level of stability here. And while we're waiting, let's do a scan. Right. Okay, we're moving forward. Ah, right, yeah. The thing is, if I'm gonna excuse me, if I'm going to stream something and it's dark for me, I always want people to see what I see. Because if you like turn the brightness up, you lose maybe some. It's like the intensity in Phasmophobia, for instance. You know, you just lose it, and in VR it's brilliant, but you lose it, you know, by the time it gets to the other end, and the darkness is part of it. Right, let's try and slow this down. You see the way I'm drifting slightly differently to how I was before. So I'm just trying to make... It's like one of the reasons why when I was streaming, I've been test streaming to YouTube for ages in 4K, but the problem is with that is nobody on YouTube can actually communicate back without having a delay of about a minute. So I've just bumped it down for now until I've got it set up more. I was supposed to do the videos when I was off, you know, start doing some vids, but I was just ill and my voice was so gravelly. Well, you can hear it now after coughing so much. And it was just like all these things conspired. I'll get them done one day. Alright. Oh, excellent. Thank you, matey. Now, I might not be far enough. Let's have a little look. I might be too far away from everywhere, so I'm just lifting up a little bit to try and give the antenna a level of cover. I should pick something up on the extremities. Oh, sorry mate, yeah, I forgot. And of course you won't have any dates either or anything like that, will you? I've seen from work, you know, where we needed things digging up and the amount of time it takes, the amount of cost, all the paperwork people have to go through. Okay, we've got somebody over there. I can't believe that I've not seen anything yet. Let's switch this back to auto. I can't see. So the missiles are coming in all right. And he's calling rifle, which is good. So I'm not sort of panicking when I see those things. There are some things over here that will shoot. And I still need to get further around the corner, but before I do that, let me just check something. Wrong button. Controls. Radio VoIP. Okay. So that is there. Oh, you've got it, have you? Excellent. When you're going to build that? I notice it's just started to rain now, isn't it? Right, let me move. What radio channel are we on? We're on 127. Radio check.
555.
Yeah, copy that. Who's flying, by the way? Just curiosity.
I'm in the shark.
Yeah, copy that.
The targets are all down on the beach, and it's going to be very hard for you to see them from behind that hill because the beach slopes towards the water. So I've had to come really far south.
Yeah, copy. You took all the essays out, have you?
I took a Strela out, a Shilker out. I don't know how many more there are.
There's around about 4 or 5. Start progressively taking out everything else without blowing up the coaches.
Yeah, I haven't
Okay.
hit a coach yet, thank God.
They're insured. Right, let's move around a little bit. If it's killed most of those, we should really just have tanks and things. The problem is with tanks, when you're sitting around and hovering,
Rifle.
you become very easy targets. They'll just point at you and just blow you out of the sky. It's all a little bit slow, this, but usually it is quite reasonably relaxed. So I just need to switch that over. Right, okay, we'll come round. We should be able to see something over this hill at some point. Probably won't have too much fuel left either. So there's a hill there, this little road leads to a valley. So while I'm going there, if I move now, this is a control really I should have attached to a button, but it's not too difficult, so just press that and push the FCR over there so it's looking across. Okay. So the resort is over there somewhere. So now that I know I can't see anything from there, I'll just correct that and use this hill. And I should be able to lift up and see something. But I will have to adjust the wind. There's a range of about 8,000 metres on these missiles, but the trouble is if you just shoot everything that it picks up with. If you tab out, it goes into idle. What is it using your, what is it that you're using to set the power? Is it a throttle? Turning around here another little bit, slowing this thing down. Really doesn't want to go that way. There we go. Right, okay, it's probably because of that. Because as soon as you tab out, there's no power input going from your mouse to control the power. It's like pulling it off, isn't it? I'm not sure whether it will work the same on using the keyboard and disable them. I think the plus and minus key on the numpad tends to add power to most things. I remove those and put them on my track IR instead. But it could be because you're using the mouse. You're using the wheel to turn the power up or down. Is that what it is? Is that how you're doing it? There it is. So that's who I was picking up earlier. This is not picking anything up at all, is it? Right. So if you look, when you tab out, assuming, have you only got one monitor? This isn't picking anything up, is it? All I was going to say is when you tab out, see if your power's going back down again by itself. They should definitely be picking something up. I have no idea why it's not. That's quite interesting though, is it? But yeah, is it what is it you're flying when it does it? Should be quite a few tanks on the coast. Right, yeah, just check. Because it's losing something. See if this is moving at all. I mean, one of the things that I found, right, is I struggle, but then I changed it. So now I can switch out and this is fine. Because the tendency is to use full screen mode. So do you know what mode you've got your graphics in? If we go here, we go to system, what have I got it set to at the moment? I can't see it off the top of my head. Can anyone see it? I know what I'm looking for, but I can't see it. I'm looking for whether it's full screen or full screen border or something like that. I can't see it at all because this very often you can have it, and it's the same with Star Citizen. I found if you can get it full screen border, it works fine, but it allows me to switch out. There we go. So we got some targets there, look. So it allows me to switch out without, right, causing me any issues. So it keeps the screen up. Right, there we go. So we can see here, let's get a better view of that. Hey Platty, how you doing, matey? Right, so there's something down there and that's the problem, it's the trees. Right, so Fleur, yeah, there we go. You can start to see it's on zoom, right? So there's a target there, we can see the targets there that he's been shooting. And if I, next to shoot target, do you see the way this is rolling round and following the targets? So what I'm trying to do, oh, I don't want to go up anymore, I need to stop that. What I'm trying to do, and I've got nothing, no iHads, I can't see what it's supposed to do. Never mind, this is the problem we've been in here, trying to do everything. Is find something that I'm not going to destroy a coach. So we go next to shoot again. Oh, excellent, matey. You're still doing your commuting? Right, I don't think... Oh, man, I can't tell if that's a coach or not. If I could switch this to... And I'm not sure whether I've got... let me try. Oh, right. A free one. Let's try something. Those are goggles. That's that. What I want to do, and I'm not sure how to do it from here, is have that on TV mode. If anyone's got any ideas, please let me know. I think that might be a tank there. So I should be able to literally make sure my things are switched on. Press that button there. No, come on, what's going on there? Oh right, a company car, did I say? What was it? I'm going to select... Oh, I'm not going to select all of them, actually. Let's see if this works. Let's go back to there. And let's go... Come on. No, I don't know. Yes, it is. I was going to say, I don't know if that's still there. That's a helicopter, by the way. Not sure what that is. That's a plane. It looks like that's a plane. That's somebody else. But I've got that high now that I can't see anything. See, there's a helicopter there that's darting around. And this is the problem. I've got to switch my iHads off so I can see what's going on. Look how high I am now. I mean, it's crazy. I can see everything, but I'm like obviously a target sitting here. Oh, is it nice, is it? So are you just whizzing down there quicker and then coming back? But you're putting the miles on, aren't you? Right. Let's go back to this. Let's go back to there. Yeah, I can't see much from here. I can see that helicopter there. This is still not... Oh, really? Yeah, it's now we're too high, look, to be able to see anything down there. Let's move. This is the problem when you're not paying attention to everything. When you got your head buried in a screen, the shark isn't that bad for doing it, to be honest. There's all your targets, look. I don't even have to be looking at them. It should, remember. But I need it to be stable. So as long as it knows where those targets are, it should be fine. I'm just trying to balance this. Not a fat chance of that. Let's just move.
Great check.
That's where all your targets are. Look, you can see them in, obviously, through my head view. So that's telling me what's wheeled vehicles, what's moving, what's static, etc. Because I was looking at screens and unfortunately, would you believe it, I made it a little bit too windy. So I was looking at screens, so while I was going through, over time, it's just crept up, crept up, crept up. So yeah, that's just me not paying attention. How far is work now? No, this is just old Caucasus Krasnodar variable. Alright. Well, I've been to work and back twice this week. My average miles per gallon in my car is 58.1 for the usage up to that point. I actually got there and back the one day with a 60.1 mpg out of it. So, oh shit, I'm dropping. No, I'm not. So what I've been doing is just sort of annoying all the lorry drivers and maximising the fuel. 15 to 18, yeah, I can imagine. Oh, believe me, mine, right, around home and that is pretty useless. But if I started towing it, and the other thing is, my tyres, I've done 19,000 on these so far, right? My previous tyres, I did 10,000. So I've had to change my driving a little bit because I need to maximise the cost. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't want another full set of tyres. Not guilty. Yeah, you don't want to kill the hostages, Tarful. You can use them, but you have to be specific about where you're going. So, you're in the Apache, are you, Tarful? Are you in the Apache? And you're using FCR? Right, okay, so all you got to do is do what I've done, put your TAD on the other screen. When you're on your TAD, select link, and then whenever you use the FCR, you can scroll through your next to shoot, and you can see what it is on your TAD, and just don't shoot the big coach things, that's all. And if you've got something really close, you want to sort of try and use gun, but specific. Don't let it wash into the buzz, otherwise you end up killing the hostages, if I can say it. Do you see what I mean? So on mine, for instance, is this stable now? Look at it. This is the wind, I think. On mine, if I go back to my FCR, assuming it's all working, let's select that, and I do a scan. It should find something with a bit of luck. Except it's bobbing around, look at it. Shouldn't be doing this. Right? I'm going to get shot down in a minute. I'm not too worried. Told you. Yeah, there's still an SA-13 out there, right hand side. So basically, if you go to your TAD on the right screen, then select link, it'll connect in the TAD to the FCR, so you're not so indiscriminate. Does that make sense? So you've got all lasers. You just have to be a little bit more careful. What you in, pup? Do you mind if I jump in your front seat?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah?
No, you want to survive?
I don't mind. How do I use George as a selected? Yeah, I know what you mean. I'll show you what I mean. I'll be in a minute, pup. So on the controls, right, when you're in the what's it seat, if you look at this, oh, why is it going there? Try pilot, that's why. If you go to the Apache pilot seat there, right, then what you want to do is you see these controls here. So you've got FCR left, HMD up, link down, and TADS right. I don't think there's any keyboard designation, and I've used one of my hats that I use differently for other things, so I've put in a button as a modifier, and that way when I want to sort of connect the TADS to the FCR, I'll put the FCR on the left, TADS on the right, select the TAD screen, so I'm on that, and then press this link down, and then that will link the TADs to the FCR. So every time it finds a target, you can zoom in on your TADs and see what that target is, which means it's easier to pick and be more discriminate rather than just holding on to the fire button because it's got so many targets, if that makes sense, and that'll make a big difference. Right, so I'm going to jump in with PUP. This is all new, this dynamic slot stuff. I don't quite. I'm going to release my slot, that might help. Spawn slots. Right, there's PUP. I should be able to jump in. So yeah, this is a little bit different, I think, unless it's me not paying attention or something changed a few weeks back. Right, you might have to. Oh, you've got me. Great, thanks. There might be a slight delay or a bit of a lag when I get in. I don't remember all the controls, but I want to see what I do, and that means you can concentrate on flying, holding it steady for now, and so on. Excuse me. Right, so if I switch off, what I'm going to do, where are we? I'm going to go around and I'm going to select TADs. I'm going to change this to TV, which is that one. I should have control. Now it makes it easier to see. I don't think I've got so much, excuse me. I don't think I've got so much control over the FCR in this. I can't remember whether I've set stuff up. I haven't flown in this seat for a long time. If we go over to here, we haven't got. What have we got? These L's on. Right, there we go. I think these are just. I should be able to use these as it is.
Raiders Road crew is available for all your resupply needs. Feel free to visit us on the main train.
Let's go over to something else I need set. ACQ. Acquisition. Acquisition, I'm going to go pilot helmet sight. Yeah, the problem is with George is he's indiscriminate as well. And it's a pain in the ass. So if I look where he's looking, right. So let's see what we can do. What did you pick up? A mixture? I know you got all else, that's fine. Yeah, you got else. They've all got white caps on. Now, I can't remember some of my controls, and I use the controls differently. So, for instance, I usually use a hat here, which is great, right, for moving around really coarsely. Okay, there's my zoom. Okay, I've got eyes on. I need to check the laser. Is the laser on? Yes, it is. Right. So what I'm going to do now is press something called the do-daddy-do-da, because I forget. There it is. That's the other half. And you see the way this target is now sitting there. It's the "Are you importantly busy?" I'll let her phone. I'll get a phone call from Lisa in a minute, matey. What's it called? Linear compensation. compensator. So you can see there's some movement in the helicopter, and what this does is utilises a motor. Just a moment. Oh, sorry. No, I'm in the CPG anyway for my benefit. Hi, Cock.
Hello,
Yeah, I'll just mute. Yeah, that's bad. I was just telling people that that's bad. Sorry about that. I got a target anyway. So basically the linear motor compensator allows to compensate for the movement of either the thing that's on the floor that I'm aiming at or the helicopter by making very small, careful adjustments. Why isn't it firing? Have you got the missile selected by any chance? Could you change to guns? Which is probably the countermeasure thing forward, I think. Ah, there we go. Okay, I think that's it. You can see we're dropping down a little bit, and I can't fire that because it'll hit the hill. So I'll switch that off for now. And then pop it back. So let's go back to where we were, and as soon as I'm nearly ready, hit the LMC. Oh, is it that time already? Somebody did. Why is that not why is it not passing the target data over? Oh, probably because he's just flattened them by going into them. There's the bus, can you see it? Slightly to the right. Let's try this over there. I think he's just killed that target. There's another thing I can also use. And it's just dropped out my head what the name of it is. Let me go back to where the pilot's looking. You having fun holding the helicopter, I take it? So that's where he's looking. Makes it quite difficult when you zoomed in. Right, where are we? So I use a hat, right, for this, but it's quite coarse. Ah, right, okay, we're the wrong side of the hill. Let's have a look. I was about to shoot them, but it wouldn't shoot. Okay, let's get in there. So another method. Where am I looking? Ah, right, okay. So I'm adjusting, and then I'll hit the button, and then I'll just do a couple of tiny little movements back. Why is that not going? Because I think I might need... I think... You got the FCR on by any chance? Yeah. Okay, no worries. Let's go down to here. MMA pinned. No, it wasn't that. I don't think. I'm wondering whether. I don't think it's that anyway. It's not. It's asking for target data. And usually, no, too far away. Let's try something else then. Let's try this. See if it's within range. If I can get stability. What range we got there? We're out of range, matey. Yeah, we're at 9,000 plus. Also, I can't remember if I got the FCR set up on this. It says it's pinned, but I think the pilot's got it. And I think that's causing a bit of an issue. What the range is, it's still too far. What's that around that corner? Right, that's it. Stroller there, is it? Let's see if I can tell whether it's... No, I know. It's... No, but all I was going to say is it feels like, because he was already firing and doing stuff or flying independently, and what I wasn't sure of, I didn't want to use the FCR. I wondered if it was in use. That was the thing. I'm trying to use the tags, but I'm out of range at the moment. close enough.
Fixed wing, 12 o'clock, searching.
Am I looking? I just slave to him. I don't know where he's looking. Yeah, that is the problem. So I jumped in after the event, and that's what it feels like at the moment. Right. Right, okay, there's still a stroller there. Well, I don't know yet. 1 minute. Not quite stable enough yet. That's fine. It's no hassle. Potentially, but to be honest, I went on, and as soon as I went on, I tried to do something, and I tried to do something, and I just sat there waiting and waiting and waiting, so I didn't bother. Another time I come on, and nearly, not quite, he got out of that. I think it's just control, it's just getting back into it, really. Especially when you're having to sort of try and get into nice hovers and things, and you got someone else with you. It's not quite so forgiving. But I don't know. I'd rather probably wait till they've all buggered off. Pardon? Yeah, I'm going to have to halve it. Yeah, it's still on, I think, till the 28th. I don't think it's finished yet. Yeah, it's too windy. I'll have to drop it off a bit. You alright, pup? You got it? Okay, we're just back behind the hill again at the moment, aren't we? There's definitely a couple of strollers there. See what I mean? Look. Here's the FCR, and according to me, the FCR's pinned. Toilet. How are you? That'll be nice. Well, have you looked for the weather? Because this week, what's this week? 25, 26, 27, 28, Wednesday. Is that working by any chance? Or is it actually a holiday? So when there are two of you in the Apache, it's much better, to be honest. I think the helicopter's desynced as well, matey, between us. It's up to you. You can do. And if you just jump out, jump into another one, fill it with Ks. Don't bother with the FCR with Ls. We'll do it old-fashioned way, and that'll give me a chance to pick up some of the other stuff, assuming we can get back here before all the targets are gone. But that's not an issue. Okie dokie. Yeah, I will have to change this wind. Oh, thanks for the follow, Glock. Did I miss that? Oh, no, I didn't. I think I got it. Oh, you've only just done that, haven't you? I didn't hear that. Thanks for the follow anyway. Okie dokie, matey. I should be in it, actually. Yeah. Just wait 1 minute. Let me jump in. Something a bit odd. Unfortunately, you can't bomb the targets there because you try not to hit the buzzes. And if you hit the buzzes, and I think someone's already hit them a bit, then we're going to end up sort of failing the mission. So you've got to pick your targets. Right, okay, I'm in. Right, I'll shut the door. Now, at the beginning, when I was in the pilot seat, if you remember, I did say about the knob. The co-pilot gunner also has one to align. Unfortunately, no, not at the moment. I was putting something easy on for myself to have a play at, but I've just added just a little bit too much wind, which is more than normal. I looked and found an old record of where I'd got the wind, but it was quite a few years ago, and it may have been before I turned it down a little bit, because this is just way too much. The helicopters can't hold themselves, and it makes it quite difficult, to be fair. I should have looked at some of the older missions. Yeah, if you just stick Ks on, you don't need the FCR either. So it'll just be about picking the targets out, shooting them, and also selecting priority targets and switching and see how that goes, because I need to remember some of this. I'm going to nip to the loo while you're starting up, Pup, and then I'll carry on from there on my bit. Let's turn that off. Let's change the view a little bit. I'm going to mute the mic. Oh no, I'll be alright. I might make a cup of tea as well. I'll be back shortly. we doing? How we doing, pup? Oops. Whoever that was pretty close. I'm not sure who's in the Huey, but geez. Was that you, was it? It's better. Right, okay. Let's have a look. So switch this off for now. This is fired up. What we need to make sure we've got on is the laser. So go to weapons, go to util, and you see the laser? It's not going to be ticked if you're the pilot and you're in from the beginning, so we need to make sure that's on. Again, like before, we've got show. We'll turn this down a little bit so we can see what's going on. So I want to see the pilot cursor, okay, where he's looking. For some reason it seems to be, oh, that's my cursor. No, that's pilot cursor, that's fine. Threat show, threats, targets. Was it the pilot cursor I wanted? Let's go back down there. Pilot cursor, yeah. Obstacles, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. Right, what else do I need? Probably haven't got weapons yet, or we have got weapons, that's fine. Now, before it let me fire stuff, it does want me to bore sight. It's just the same process as before. I need to stick my eye hats on, but again, I'm not over worried with this, to be honest. That's easily more than good enough. Right, over here. What do I need? I want this on TV mode. Let's go over here, select TADs. Okay. Now we can move up and down, left and right, make sure that works. Okay. You can also, as I said, you've got zoom in, medium, narrow. Right, okay. Let's put that over there. What have I got over there? No, actually, let's put this on TAD or TSD. Now we can see where the pilot's looking. Over here, if here, pattern tanker. If we go to acquisition, if we look in the hood, right? This is the problem whenever you select TV. If we look in the hood, oh, hang on, I'm co-pilot gunner again, aren't I? We want the acquisition target to be pilot helmet sight. So we can get the TADs to point to the pilot helmet sight, the gunner sight, the seeker, where the seeker is looking fixed, or the target. If we go to the pilot helmet sight, what that means is I can use the, what's the button called? Slave button, right? To slew, right, to where the pilot's looking. And when he's looking and I'm slewed, you see that cross in the middle. Okay? And you can also see my indicator and the pilot's indicator here. So when I unslave and that goes, I've got control. When I slave, it goes straight to where the pilot's looking. So the pilot can actually see and locate targets, or he can see something, and then I can basically say, right, okay, I'll go and look where he's looking. What else? I've got to try and remember some of these controls. Oh yeah, that's there. That's there. Get rid of that. There's something else. Store IoT. And there's a promote, but we've got no target yet, so I'm not too worried about that. That's going to be enough for us to go now. We could, let me go and set, there's no what's it information on this, in this helicopter. Did you get in the same one or a different one? Up? Did you get in a different helicopter? That's fine. No worries, don't worry about it. I'll find somewhere. So what I've got to do is zoom out. That's zooming in, by the way. That's why the map got bigger. Let's go down here. I'm going to change this to pan. Now I can move the map down. This is the coast. This is Novo. And what we're looking for is like a bay. So if I zoom in now, can you see how this bay is opening up? And this is Glensdick. Alright, so if I turn this brightness up a bit because I want you to see the map. And then I take off pan. Here's my cursor. Okay. So what I can do, he said, if I remember how to do it, which is why I want to do this stuff, is go point, see you matey, add, right, and go down here, and just put, I'm just going to call it WP6. Free type is WP6 rather than WOP6. Enter. I'm just going to press these buttons, and then hopefully we should have a waypoint. If I did that right, did I miss anything there? May have done. I think I might have forgot something. Let's try it again. Point. I'm clicking that point. I think it might already be in, I'm not sure. Can't see the waypoint there, so don't know why that's moving either. So point. Ah, why has it got W6 there? Okay, it's already got the waypoint in the database. It's not set up on anything. So I should be able to just go to RTM, go in here, and add in there. Okay. Don't think they're on any other one. Pretty sure I should be able to add that into here. No. If I can remember how to. No, I can't remember how to. Bugger! I should be able to do it from here though. No, there are no waypoints according to mine. Have you got waypoints? Right, okay, waypoint 2. Yeah. Have you got waypoints? Yeah, there wasn't anything showing. I went to set the waypoint and there wasn't anything showing at all. That's interesting. Okay. Wait 1 minute. You should have a waypoint there now. Can you see it? Yeah, it wasn't showing any waypoints on my screen at all. It sounds like the sync isn't exactly great anyway. Why has this gone there? Let's go back to TADS. Let's go back to there. Something else has changed as well. You haven't got an FCR, have you, this time? Nope. We got all the Ks. That's fine. Something switched. I had the TV screen on and it's changed. Right, I know what it is. Right, okay. It's where his head was looking. So it's still set to there. Okay, no worries. Let's get back up here. Should have everything set on. And we're going over that direction. This is in safe mode. It's in a different place here. So we'll wait until we get there, and there's another few controls that we can use. This little box here gives us our scope of overall view. This tells us the area we're looking at. This is a lubber line that's directly forward there. One of these is me. Oh, sorry. One of these is me, which is that one, look. That means I'm looking forward. And the pilot's looking slightly over to the left. If I go over here, can you see? So this is representing my view within this screen. And you can see you've got a lot of range that you can look left, right, etc, etc. But it's quite funny because I haven't been in the co-pilot seat for ages. This means I've got the lasers selected. What else is here? Using ramp. Be using that on the FCR, which we don't have. If we go back to pan, switch freeze off center, that puts us back where we are. So you can see us moving along this line. Is this gain on here? No contrast on here. Better. When it's nice and bright daylight, you know, you may as well just use your eyes to see things. So we're heading off to the waypoint. I've got too many screens with too many things on again at the moment. If anyone's just joined the channel, welcome. Flitting around just a little bit, trying to get my head back around some of the things that I should be knowing. But it also allows me to have a cup of tea. It also gets him used to flying as well, again. Look at his blades. They're a lot more forward than they need be. Because the wind's too strong when I did the mission. Don't know how many... Oh, who's in that? Oh, boss. Yeah, I see you. So there's only us two on. So I could, what time is it? I could change that. It'll be changed for next time if I use this again. This should help you flying actually, Pup, and getting used to it again. Apart from the wind, your flying in this was absolutely fine, wasn't it? If you remember when we used to practice it ages ago. It's just a completely different feel to the shark. If anyone's got any questions, guys, please jump in and ask. I usually stream on a Saturday. I usually like to explain what it is that I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I am running over stuff myself just to remember. Some things I haven't done for a while, and as I said earlier to others, I've been ill for a month or so, but I think I'm getting back to normal now. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to do this at all, trust me. Oh, that's better. The data's better on YouTube now. Picture quality should be alright on YouTube. It's still only running at 1080p. But I've done a bit of tweaking and changed a couple of things as well. Right, so nobody got any questions? Anybody want to join in? I will turn the wind down at some point. No, I won't be able to do it today. I normally finish at 2. I can already tell. I don't know what it is with DCS, probably because I have to have my feet down, and I'm sure whether the seat plays into it or not when my feet are on pedals. Okay, just don't crash into us if you can do it. Oh, 9 o'clock. Now you know what time it is. Can't see yet. Relatively speaking, it is quite a slow helicopter compared to the Shark, the Mi-24. The Chinook's faster than it as well. So this is nice and stable flying. Let's have a think. So it was quite difficult to see any targets because it seems like those targets are a little bit more focused, pulled in a bit. So we might want to go out. There's a mound over to the left-hand side. It might pay us to try and come down on the runway side a little bit. So if we cross the hill, let's have a look at this range. Hang on. Let's change that to meters. Yeah, our range is going to be what, 8,000 meters. There's if you come in over the hills, right, more or less slightly to your right. If you come in over those hills and then drop down, there's hills behind the runway, and as you start to head towards the runway, just keep really low until you can get close enough. There is, by the looks of it, a mound which is about 6k away, but we should be able to shoot just before we get to that. Let me put a mark on the map. Not that you get a chance to look at it. But that circle all round by that hill area, if we can get there, but we'll have to come in and stay low and use the terrain to mask and see what we can see. If you put full flaps on, Buzz, and put your gear down, you should be able to fly behind us. But just watch you don't drop out the sky. And don't take us out. Although I know it works with a Shark, might not with this because we're a bit slower, but depends how slow you can get in control. I wouldn't get too close. You need to pull your nose up as well. You trim your nose up a little bit so you're flying a bit of nose high. Right, we're not too far away now. Sorry, that's my fault. Oh, you can't see the picture, can you? I was going to say I've got a cup of tea and it was interfering with head tracking. Watch your pylons. They're a bit close and just off that hill, aren't they? Right. Can you see the way that the hill slightly to the left just rises enough? So we could have a peep over there. No, we don't need to use this big hill on the right, we just use the terrain which is slightly left. Okay, I'll start looking. It might pay if see this ridge here, if you can sort of peep over it, if I can see any targets I can actually mark them and then we can pick them up once we're a bit closer, if you see what I mean. It's just going into a hover there. So this is further away than we need to be, but we should be able to see the targets, and then we keep pushing forward and a little bit more forward. We may be able to creep over this mound. There's another one behind it. Just ease over gently and let's see where we get. A little bit dark there, we can brighten that. You can hear my computer. My fans are going like 10 to the dozen. So we want to be looking over there somewhere, I think. So it's just started to increase its height. So we've got some level of terrain masking, and it should, with a bit of luck, give us a view, as you can see. So let's see what we can see. Yeah, I think we got another. See the mound in front? I think we got another one. Oh wait a minute, where's that smoke from? Yeah, that other hill mound. Yeah, I'm just looking, I think. Yeah, I think we can go through there and round the other side of the tree range, I think. But again, just head over there nice and gently so that we can peep over. Can you see the smoke down below? This is why I was struggling earlier to try and hold it, because that's the wind that's coming in off the hills. Once you're above the hills, it's too strong. I need to drop it down by about half, I think. I was quite surprised at how hard it was to try and get the helicopter stable, and even then it still wasn't great. Right. Yeah, watch your height. Yeah, it is. It's sort of coming over from an angle, more that way, to be honest. Oh, that, yeah, I can't see it at all at the moment. I don't think. Ah, right, okay. Right, hold on there, pup. Thank you. Right, there we go. Right, there's definitely... Let's have a look. What sort of range have we got? Oh. Where's that ridge? I think that's over here, or here. You can see the targets. Where the hell are we now? Oh, he was probably looking over there. Yeah, no, it was my view. It was, we've just dropped down out of the targets a little bit, but when I slewed to, you were looking quite hard left. That's better. So, I think you see this mound over here in front with a lighter coloured grass.
Yeah.
Sort of move towards there slowly and keep just this side of the hill. Height's not bad. We should start seeing it again there. It's just beyond there, I think. Okay, I can see the targets now. Have you got the TADs on one of your screens?
No.
Ah, right, okay, you'd be able to see what I could see. Right, I'm just looking to see if there's any more... not shulkers, what am I on about? There is a shulker, but there's something else. Right, hold up there a little bit, if you can. Yeah, we're still too far away, but I can mark that. should, if we go into threat mode, he says, what's the, got to try and remember, it's that one, is it? Yeah, there we go. Okay. I'm gonna look, see if I can find Shilka. I can't tell if that one's still alive or not. That one definitely isn't. I think that's alive. It's difficult to tell. But don't want to go there. My mistake. Don't think that's alive. Try and mark it anyway. Okay. Can't go any more, I'm on the limit. Yeah, that's what I thought. We got a dead bus, have we? Which dead bus you looking at? That one there, is that alive? It is, isn't it? The trouble is we're just that bit far away. Just marked it. What range is that? Oh, within range, that one is. Try and hold it still if you can. Oh, wait a bit, I know what I'll do. Right. Oh, come on. Rifle. Oops, I got 2 out after that, but never mind. Okay, it's going to hit soon. Oh, don't know why there's more firing. Why is it firing loads? Shouldn't be launching. It's weird, I'm not sure. Oh, I'm not sure why it's firing all those. Are we moving around or something? Oh, right, okay. That's better. Right, okay. Let's see what happens to that. Well, I don't usually use this mode, but what I've done is mark the targets. Yeah, this isn't doing what I'm expecting it to do. Now, where's my promote button gone as well? Ah, that is the promote button. Okay. And I don't know why this is launching then, when it shouldn't be launching. I think I might know. I think when I couldn't get something else to work, I changed the button. Oh, I don't know what happened there. Rifle, by the way. So you can basically select, I think, 3 targets. You should be able to fire like sort of 3 missiles. It gives you the timings, which is what it's saying on the bottom. And then you can sort of promote the targets so that you can fire 3 missiles. One not quite after the other, but fairly near to that. I think we've got the most dangerous stuff. I don't think this one's alive, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
The ones on the hills look dead. There's a few tanks around. I'll see if there's anything else that yeah, we need to get that. But we could use guns on that, but it's too far away. But you'd have to do the guns. Let me try this one. Yeah, I'm already there. Rifle. That's drifting. Forgot to put the compensator on. That should do it there. There we go. Right, what else have we got? How many missiles we got, do you know? He said, I should know that really, but let's do that. Oh, we got a few. Put the LMC on. Rifle. We are quite on the, oh no, about 6,000 odd away, which is quite good. We're about 6,500 away. I'm lazy. I'm trying not to squeeze the trigger too hard because it's firing a missile when I squeeze the trigger. But excuse me. I'm not sure what it is that I've done by mistake. Let's put the compensator on for the movement, or I could laze and then put that forward. Excuse me. I do apologise. I'm not sure about to just fire then. And then relax. I know what it is now. It's a 2-stage trigger, whereas before I used to use the space bar. So it's telling me to fire more missiles, but I don't need to. But it means if I select 1, 2 and 3 targets, I could fight. Excuse me, I can't let go of my button yet. Just one moment. I could fire at multiple targets and have all the missiles flying through there. As I said, just switch targets. Trucks, we're not going to waste anything at, and most of those got no tyres. There's a buzz over there. I think that tank's still going. That tank's still going. So let's try this. So I'm lasing. Mark that. Right, going here. See if this works, eh? Lays, mark that. So we got number 2. That one, not sure whether that one's up. But the other target. Where's that? Oh. I think we might be moving around, I'm not sure, unless I've just got, no, I've got a limit. So we're pointing slightly right. So I've got 2 targets there. I can't get over anymore. Got those buzzies. Yeah, I can't move any further out. Okay, so what I should be able to do, he said, now just check see the way that changes between the 2 targets, okay? So if I'm at number 1 and number 2, if I fire, right, you look on the bottom when it's telling me what the time in flight is, okay? And there's the other one. So I'm now, look, didn't mean to do that. I'm holding, but if you watch lays target 1, and then it'll change to lays target 2, fire missiles, come on. Lays target 2, just promote it. There's the lays, oh, that's gone off target 1. I think I might have messed it up. Let's promote it back. Keep the lays going. I might have messed that up somewhat, but oh well. We've got no missiles left. There's a couple of targets there. If you want to take the cannon without hitting the buzz, we should be able to. I can't remember what the range on the cannon is. Is it 4 or 5? No, 1500 metres maybe. I can't remember. Just pull in and have a go at the cannon, because it's that time anyway where I've got to wind up in a minute. So it's not been absolutely brilliant today. It's been okay. There's far too much wind on this map. I started remembering stuff that I couldn't even remember before, which is the main reason why I'm running on this map and not in the mission that we've been doing. It's been quite surprising, as I said, over the last month, well, last 6 weeks now, I think it is. Hello Amia, by the way. Amia Razor, is it, or Razor Amia? I do apologise. I missed your comment there, unless you've just posted it. Welcome to the channel. I'm streaming on Twitch and YouTube at the moment. And if you're on Twitch, it's read out to me. If you're on YouTube, it's not. So sometimes I miss what's being said. I do apologise for that. I'm just going to go and see if we can use guns on some of the targets. The trouble is with the FCR, as I said, unless you're going to actually look at every single target you pick, it can be indiscriminate, because you can fire virtually all your missiles off one after the other and it'll just switch targets. It doesn't care whether it's a target is an enemy, whether it's a friendly. It can't tell the difference between a bus and maybe a truck. It just sees it's got wheels and so this mission would have been failed. I think it's probably failed already. I can't remember. There's been a bit of indiscriminate bombing and shooting. I don't know. Is Twitch 4K streaming a thing? I know they were experimenting with it. But if it's anything like YouTube, right? I think YouTube uses a different method for communication while you're streaming. When you're streaming 4K to YouTube, there's a minute delay between someone typing and it popping up on for me to read. So, you know, there's quite a big latency. Quality is absolutely fine. On Twitch it's instantaneous, and I just dropped my resolution down on YouTube because I wanted to test something. And again, when somebody types, it comes straight back, as you saw by me responding to that. It's just I don't always see it because I have to look away, and when you start looking away it makes it difficult. But I think the reason why he's having a problem here is it's the wind, more than anything. You can see where the blades are, look. That's to try and hold steady. So they're tilted over quite a lot. But I will be winding up in a minute. I need to finish. It's always the same with DCS. I think it's when I'm using the rudders all the time. Causes a slight problem with my feet. I can feel them tingling. Let's have a look, see where he's looking. Let's see. You're shooting them, aren't you? See him gently tapping the right pedal there, look. Okay. Yeah, no worries, just go with it. There's a couple of tanks and things over there. Let's get a view back on here. What was shooting? APCs, is it? I think somebody might have wrecked the mission anyway earlier on, by the looks of it. Put the compensator on. You can always tell by the cross it's got those lines. So it's a motorized system that tries to keep my target in frame. Does it tell you you've got guns selected? On your iHads, does it say guns? Got a missile coming our way. That one's still alive. I couldn't tell. There's another missile. I think we're dead, mate. Do you think we need some practice then? Right, okay. I am going to be jumping off now anyway, so what I'll do is find somebody and I'll pass whoever's left, if there's any left over. So just bear with me. We're getting there slowly, or I'm getting there slowly, but it's better than it has been, trust me. Right, Gash is on. Let's go and have a look, see. It's fine. but it's going there. Let me go and have a little look. There's Cash. England. I'm just having a look, see who's on that I can pass over to. World War II dogfighting. There we go. Assuming this is, yeah, definitely English. Well, I think it's English. Might not be. I do apologise if it's not. I'll pass you guys over and just give the person some support. Anybody who streams DCS, there's so few people doing it that basically people need to be encouraged. But I'm not sure if it's English. I think judging by the title, it may be. Oh, no, it's German. His title seems to be in English. He may speak English as well. But either way, give him some support. Right, cheers everybody. Thanks for watching. I will be on next Saturday. You never know, I might jump on Monday or Tuesday. I'm not really sure yet. I'm off both days. Right, cheers everyone. Thanks and bye.